Hi guys, welcome to today's episode where we'll be discussing Alex Salmond's madcap idea to try and force independence. As usual, just a wee reminder, if you enjoy the podcast, please hit subscribe and the little bell symbol to get notifications of future podcasts. If you enjoy any particular podcast, please give me the thumbs up. That'll help spread the word. And if you want involved in the conversation and the community, send your comments below. Thank you. So, Alex Salmond's and his new mad-brained idea. The Alba Party are putting through a new members bill, which I think will drive independence. Now, this is after the UK government last year won the Supreme Court hearing that reaffirmed that no referendum could be held without UK government approval. And Alba are trying to achieve a rerun in the 10th anniversary of the failed independent reference from 2014. So that's next year, within 12 months, they actually want to hold another referendum. Now, it's been left to Ash Reagan to actually submit the members bill, because peculiar enough, Alba are a political party without any politicians up until Ash crossed to their party after losing out on the leadership competition in the SNP. If you remember, when Nicola Sturgeon stepped down, she was one of the 3 candidates to become the new leader of the SNP. And when she lost that race, she joined the Alba Party, who had no MSPs. So now they've got one, they can put in member bills. Now the bill wants to ask the Scottish people in a referendum if the Scottish government should be allowed to legislate for and allow independence, which would then contravene the Supreme Court hearing and decision that would then allow the separatists to attempt to force Westminster's hand with this, remember this against the will of the Scottish people thing that they always pipe up. So that's what they're looking to do, hold a referendum, which isn't a referendum, or other than allowing the Scottish government the ability to call a referendum on independence. So it's a little bit convoluted, but that's basically what they're trying to do. And if they're successful, they're then going to call Scots to vote in the next election for pro-independence parties and have, therefore, a de facto election, the de facto election, that Nicola Sturgeon discussed about a year ago, until that was knocked in the head at their own SNP conference. They said, no, we're not going to have this de facto referendum. So what the de facto referendum's all about is you don't have a referendum, you have an election. And you ask the electorate to vote on basically one thing. And that is, do you want independence? And if you want independence, vote for a pro-independence party. They then get the seats at the Scottish Government. And they then go down to Westminster and say, well, the Scottish people, we're having independence. And some of them are trying to achieve that without even have a referendum on independence, which is quite peculiar. These people that shout democracy all the time, some of them are advocating that we don't even need a referendum and ask the Scottish people if they want to become independent. Some believe that if they get voted in, that should be enough. We should just walk away. And in doing this de facto thing again, it's just absolutely bonkers, unless you're a separatist cult member. Because I think it's fair to say that every week, month, and even sometimes days, we see more and more people who are pro-independence, but they're turning their back on the independence parties, which are SNP, Alba. I don't know if anybody can actually turn their back on Alba because nobody is there for them in the first place, and the Greens. And if you were an independence-driven cult member, you would probably fear that. Because if nobody votes for the pro-independence, then the independence stream dies and you don't have a job or a party or any reason to take money off people. So I think Alex has seen this and thought we need to get people back onto this single point manifesto. And I think that's terribly dangerous. My desire is that can we get a Scottish government that just wants to do what's best for Scotland just now with the powers that we've got? Because for the last 10 years they haven't. Arguably since 2011 they haven't. They've just ramped on about how bad Westminster is and try and gerrymander independence referendum after independence. referendum. And the mad bit is, if they're successful, they've reminded people about what the Alba Party's conference agreed. In page 1, line 1 of their manifesto should encourage people to vote SNP so they get independence. Alba is a party that was started by people who are disenfranchised with SNP. So they're trying to just turn the whole politics on the head, and again it just highlights this ridiculous situation where they're all becoming a one-trick pony. It's independence, independence, independence. Forget about rising fuel costs, forget about dropping education, forget about rising drug deaths, alcoholism, homeless, all these things. We'll just forget about them. We forgot about it for too long. That's why we're in the state we're in. Unless you're one of the cultists and you want to blame Westminster for that. And it was then put to Alec at a press conference that he was actually going to end up advocating people should vote for a party that he's suing. Remember, he's suing for £3 million for the way his sex pestering case and complaint was handled. To which Alex said, no, not at all, I'm suing the Scottish Government. You're the SNP ran the Scottish Government. And I am not, that's his quote, I am not yet suing the SNP, or that could yet happen, I sue the SNP. So Alex is saying, everybody, see all you folk out there, these normal people that are trying to fill your coffers with £3 million from the SNP through court, you go and vote for them, but I don't really like them. I detest them that much that I might sue them, even though I'm already suing the government that they're in. The hypocrisy here is absolutely crazy. But I believe that this new thing that Alex has done in his Alba Party have dreamt up is two-pronged. They understand the amount of people that are turning away from the independence parties, pro-independence parties. And the fear is that, and I tend to agree with them, the potential outcome of any election soon at the Scottish or Westminster Parliaments could potentially see a whitewash towards unionist parties, and I would imagine Labour being the biggest beneficiary of that if there was a general election tomorrow for Scotland or Westminster Parliaments. And the other thing is, they've got to just keep everybody thinking about independence, because if not, they have got no relevance. That's all this is. Keep them relevant, keep them going. And some of them probably wouldn't mind if we never get independence, but just spoke about it for the rest of their lives, because, and I've even heard those wanting independence admit this, that if we gained independence, folk would have no reason to vote for SNP, Greens or Alba. So the immediate election after that would see a majority of them out of their jobs. So the ideal situation for these people, like Matheson, that make plenty of money off being in the SNP, people like him, is to just continually not be independent, but continually talk about it until your career ends. Then you'll have a whole lifetime of talking about something that's not going to happen and making lots of money. But if we had independence tomorrow, the very next election, you wouldn't have a job. So the ideal solution is, and it looks, that's exactly what all these people are doing, is let's just keep talking about independence but never obtain it. But as a byproduct of that, let's just ruin Scotland. The country we tell everybody we love, because we just don't govern it properly. So do us all a favour, let's vote in an election for the proper reasons, and that is who you want to run your country, your government. And by the way, if you don't get what you want, that's because that's just how democracy works. You don't always get what you want. So if you don't get what you want, let's not just jump parties like Ash, I didn't win that vote, I'm away to Alba, I'm away to see Uncle Alex. Or gerrymander things like the material change of the EU, where we'll argue we want to have an independent country, but argue that we want that independent country to be governed by a foreign power called the EU. All those bonkers things that you do. Just go and govern the country. Stop it. Try stopping for 12 months to stop talking about independence, because it's the biggest fear you've got of making it non-relevant. It has to remain frontline, headline, or use people stop making money out of it. The coin you're all making out of it is ridiculous, and you all know fine well that if there was never any referendums, you wouldn't earn half the amount of money you earn just now. It's a gravy train for you. And the sooner the Scottish people, and particularly those that are part of your cult, recognise that, the sooner you all bugger off and let the adults run the country. Bye now. Oh, one thing. Kush was only away getting clean, folks. He's back.